Can you not, sir? Good sir? What are you doing, sir? Hello. You always look so spooked when I, like... Why you always look so spooked? Hi everyone, I'm Ying and welcome back to the Noodle Kids Knitting Podcast. It's been a little while. I always say that, but yeah, it's been a little while. In between resting my arm, being busy at work, I'm also getting laid off at work, so I'm looking for a job, and that's pretty much why I haven't been on here often, because I'm like already stressed enough about real life. But today is going to be a regular podcast episode. We're going to talk about my finished objects, my whips, and my acquisition. So let's get into it. As usual, we're going to talk about finished objects first. First, I have my Cozy Posy socks by This Handmade Life. I think that's the designer's name. And here they are. I'm not even sure if I showed this as a whip because this was such a quick knit. It is a all over lace pattern sock, and I did this pair of socks 2 at a time, meaning I was knitting on both of them at the same time on one pair of needles. I've always wanted to try this method because from my previous podcast, you might know that I struggle with second sock syndrome a lot. Yeah, after I cast on the second sock, I would like knit on it for a bit, but then I would just kind of leave it. And yeah, it would take me a long time to finish a pair of socks usually if I'm not super engaged with the pattern, and it's like 100% not the pattern's fault. But this was actually a pretty effective method for me to finish 2 socks at the same time, so I didn't have too much finishing work to do. Since I chose to do a afterthought heel, I had to do both heels after I was done. But other than that, it was a quick knit, and the pattern was interesting, super easy to follow, and yeah, I like the result. The pattern, the lace pattern is really pretty, and it looks really nice on the foot. Most of the time, I don't like lace as socks because it looks different when it's like unstretched and stretched, and some pattern doesn't look as good when it's stretched in my opinion. But this, I think it looks pretty good, and I like wearing it with my docs. It's just like a cute pop-up color in the outfit. The yarn is mostly Fireweed Fibre Co. Tickled Pink in Sweet Pea Sock. Only the accent at the cuff is scrap, so it's 2 different pale pink yarn that I don't even know what they are. Yeah. But I had like a certain length of it, so I decided to just cast on with them. And I think they're pretty cute. I like the contrast cuff. And sorry for like any rough patches and cat hair or anything. This has already been worn because it's been finished for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I think. So yeah, I've already worn it. Next is also a pair of socks, and this sorry is also been worn. It has to be washed, but it doesn't look too bad. That's why I'm showing you. It is my I Heart Socks by StoneKnits. The yarn that I use is the main color, the white with the speckles, is Lily and Pine Designs in Starfish. And the contrast, the hearts, is Emily C Gillies' January Luck of the Draw of 2023. I like the combination. I originally thought that the pale blue here is not going to stand out as much, but I think it looks okay. This pattern was a bit of a challenge, I would say, to knit, because at first I didn't know like how many hearts I wanted, how long I wanted the sock to be. So I made the cuff too long. I'm actually gonna grab the sock and show you. At first, I made the cuff way too long, so this is the first sock that I made. and this is the comparison. So the first sock, the cuff was too long, definitely, and the color were very inconsistent. So I started with the dark pink and then going into the light pink. I wanted to do 2 hearts per color. Hi. Hello. I wanted to do 2 hearts per color, but I forgot to change color halfway through. I forgot to change color after the second heart. So I changed color halfway through and I wasn't satisfied with the result. So I decided to change to 1 heart of each color because I was like, well, I'm not going to have enough heart rows to do 2 rows of the hearts. I'm explaining it weird. I decided to do 1 heart of the rest of the color because if I do 2, it's going to be too long for the foot. And I wanted to include all the color, and I wanted to make both socks the same. So I made the foot actually too short. If you check out the new one, yeah, it was like a few centimeters too short. And the float was definitely too tight, so my foot had a really hard time fitting into the sock. Also, I ran into this weird problem that I don't see many people running into, is that at like the edge of my hearts, my stitches are bigger. And I'm not sure if it's like a float problem or like a tension problem, but I can't seem to get rid of that problem. And it was still the same, even on my second, technically third sock that I made. So here it looks okay, but like on the other side you can see a bunch of them that are like of stitches too big. I think it's because my floats are too tight, and I should probably try like the largest size from Charlotte's patterns next time, because I have a 9-inch circumference foot, and if I follow her pattern, my sock, like the circumference of the sock, comes out too big. So maybe I should like hold the floats a little tighter so my sock would be a little compact, and the fabric would be a little compact, so my stitches don't tend to get like stretched out when it's like knit. Because that's the problem. It's when the last stitch is being knit, is like being pulled, and there's nothing holding it because the next stitch is not the same color. So it's like getting enlarged because nothing is holding it. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it correctly. It kind of makes sense in my head, but I should try like another pattern for it. Currently, I'm a little socked out. So we'll see in my next pattern if I decided to make like another textured pattern or another colorwork pattern. Maybe not like all over colorwork, but just like a simple colorwork pattern at like the leg part. That would be interesting. Ooh, yeah, I saw Charlotte teach a class on her colorwork socks, and she started making a night version of her blooming lavender sock. So the original blooming lavender socks, the base is like a pale beige purple thing, but now she made a version with the base being like midnight blue, and that looks really cool, and I wanted to make one. So yeah, we'll see, maybe that one, because that was an interesting pattern. It was also a fail previously when I made it, so it would be interesting trying it again. Also, I wanted to mention, like, I did like Charlotte's short roll heel this time. I actually like this heel method a lot. It looks pretty neat on the side. It's just I have to practice more to like seal up the holes, but it's very practical when I'm doing color work because A, I don't have to go back, and B, if I do a afterthought heel, I kind of have to look where I can cut open the sock. But with this method, when I'm done, I'm done. So we'll see if I'm gonna do this more next time. My next finished object is a sweater. Last time you saw this, it was only a whip and I was like not even halfway done. but she's complete now, and it's my Anker's sweater by PetiteKnit. So this is what she looks like. I'm loving how she looks. So this yarn is the Wandering Flock Spring Fever in Merino DK. I think that's the name of their DK. And it is so soft. And the drape is beautiful. The only thing I have with this pattern is that the sleeves are too tight for me. Not too tight, but the sleeves are like really fitted on my body. I'll show like a try on, and it looks alright on me. It's just the sleeves are too tight, and it's super wash, so after a bit of wear it's gonna loosen up a bit. So I'm not too worried about it. It's just like, I don't like fitted sleeves. But we'll have to just wear it and see how it turns out, you know. But I'm quite satisfied with this. I made a size medium, and I actually used like 4.3 balls of the Wandering Flock. I don't know if their yardage is just like less than other people, or just this sweater requires more because it has like a lot of ribbing. I don't know if ribbing takes up more yarn or not. Maybe it does. But this is actually a full-length sweater, and I pretty much enjoy just having a full-length sweater from time to time because a lot of my sweaters are cropped. And I also added some elastic inside the cuff. I saw I saw somebody on Instagram fixing their partner's sweater after like it's been stretched out, and they added some elastic like this with crochet method, and I thought that was interesting because it adds like more strength to the elastic, and it also helps the cuff hold shape, because a lot of my sweater has this problem where like the cuff gets really stretched out after wearing it for a bit. I really don't like the fact that you have a tight cuff and then after some wear it just like loosen up. This sweater is another problem. I'm gonna talk about it later. But for example, my my home v-neck sweater by Kadri, the cuff is a lot tighter than this, but after a bit of wear it just like loosen up, and it just becomes really hard to do things around the house because sometimes you do want your cuff to be up but it doesn't hold. So yeah, after washing that sweater I'm gonna add some elastic and see how it does. Also added elastic at the neckline as suggested in the pattern, and it looks a bit wonky when it's just like this, but when it's once it's on the body it doesn't really look any different. Next is a really quick pattern that I wanted to make for a while. So I mentioned this in my Things I Want to Knit podcast a few weeks, month? Oh my god, it's been a while. I'm gonna link it up here. But I had a podcast where I talked about things that I wanted to make, and this was one of them. So this is the Framework Bralette by Jessie Maed Design, and I love how it looks. At first I thought I'd have to purl all the time, but turned out that the pattern is written so that it's written to be knit inside out. So you basically knit the whole time until you have to shape the cup, and after shaping the cup it's pretty fast. So there's not much purling to do actually. I made a size medium, which is the 4th size in the pattern I think. And I think I want to make a smaller size next time because I used the superwash merino wool and it kind of like grew after washing, and it also stretched out a little bit after wearing. Even though I do have elastics at the bottom, it does help it keep it on the body, but it's just at the end of the day it doesn't really hold shape as a bralette, like what it's supposed to do. Maybe I should probably wear a bra under this and just wear this as a top. Who knows? I'll try something else next time. But overall, a really nice experience making this. I finished this in like 3 days, I think. And that's on top of me having to rest. So if you're a relatively quick knitter, you can probably finish this in a day, not lying. But that's not to say that you have to like rush through your knits. Take your time with whatever you need and just like enjoy the process. And at the end of it, you're gonna get a really cute bralette. So the yarn that I use for this is J'adore fiber in the color Mrs. Potts. So I've had some trouble using this yarn before. Oh, and the color is just like a really pretty muted mix of purple, yellow, a bit of pink, and like a bit of beige. I've talked about this yarn before, and I've tried to use this yarn in several different things before, but turned out I think this yarn deserves to be like a one skein wonder pattern thingy. And at the end, I had to do some modification to the pattern to actually have it like complete. And even at the end, the straps, I had to use a different color. So the different color of straps is Campfiber Yarn Sugar Plum Glow. It's also a leftover. But yeah, I had like this tiny of a ball left of the J'adore fiber. And I think this pattern would be actually a really good like one skein project for like certain sizes. If you're larger than like the fourth or the fifth size, so like medium and large, I think you need probably 2 skeins. Even the medium, you need 2 skeins, seeing like my straps are a different color. But if you're on the smaller scale, you could probably easily use up 1 DK weight yarn, and yeah, just 1 skein and it's done. So the modification I had to do was first the front. I didn't do any modification to the front cup, but the back I had to do the shorter cup modification. And I'm not gonna like say how to do it because I don't want to give away the pattern. But I had to make the cup shorter in order to have enough yarn to have like the same color of the cups, or else it's just gonna be really awkward that one cup is one color and the other cup probably has like this much of like a different color, and I didn't want that. I don't mind the straps being another color, but the cups, the body of the bralette, I really don't want it to be a different color. Anyway, I also already wore this out because I was just too excited that it was done. And it's actually a pretty comfortable knit, even though at the end of the day I feel like I wasn't wearing anything if I didn't have the elastic at the bottom. But that's why I wanted to make a smaller size. But we'll see. Oh, also my cat really loved the elastic at the bottom. He kept chewing it, so I had to like fold it like this so he doesn't see anything. Next is not a finished object, but I did some modification to it. So if you follow me on Instagram, which you should, and the link is down below, I did some modification to my Ali sweater. It doesn't look like I did, but the sleeves are actually shorter. So previously when I finished my Ali sweater, the sleeves are way longer than they should be. They were like, usually I like my sleeves like this, or like wrist length, but they're like, you know, like more than my hand. Which I followed the pattern, but I should probably check the length or my row gauge. I probably have a looser row gauge. That's probably why it was too long. But I did some surgery to the sleeves, and I should probably wash it, but I'm too lazy to just like block out one row. And also I added elastics to the cuff and to the neckline. So you can't really see with the neckline, but there's some like things popping out. I should probably cut that, but whatever. So what I did with the sleeves. You can see, you can see here, there's a little different, yeah, there's like a little bit of difference. So I basically I basically put 2 pairs of circular needle on top and at the bottom. So think of it as an afterthought heel if you know how to do it. The knit rows are like these zigzag things, and you just like put needles through one row and like leave one row and put in another row. So there's one free row in between your 2 needles, right? I did that for the whole circumference of the sleeve, and I put the needles with like between the space where I want to take out, and then I cut the thread at the top. So basically you finish knitting to the cuff. So if you're about to unravel, you have to unravel from the cuff. And so if you cut near the cuff, not near the shoulder, you're gonna be able to unravel after you cut the stitch. So after you cut the stitch, you're gonna have to take out one whole row of stitches with like a darning needle or like a smaller size double pointed needle or something, and then you'll be able to unravel. And since you have a needle holding at the bottom where you want like the grafted parts to like be together, I'm really bad at explaining this. I hope I'm making sense. So yeah, you want to unravel till that part where the other needle is and just basically graft the 2 parts together, so you'll have like a little bit, like a few centimeters taken off. And I did that in between the decreases, so my stitch counts are the same. And honestly, even if your stitch counts is like off by 1 or 2, I think you can just thread through 2 stitches at the end of your grafting, and that should be fine. So that's what I did for both, and I don't think you can see much of a difference in terms of like the sleeve decreases. So I think it's fine. And after like some wear and after a wash, this should block out when the fiber is relaxed. And also it's just like on my sleeve and nobody's gonna check, oh, you have like some defects here, you know? I think the sweater is way more impressive as it is in terms of a pattern and like the just like the colors and other things, that people are gonna be more intrigued by the sweater than like the one single like defects that you have. So yeah, if you want to like do some surgery for your sweater, that's simply what you do. Hopefully you understand, but if not, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of YouTube videos that you can watch, and they're way better explaining than me. So yeah, good luck. I have one last finished object, but I'm not going to show you because it's dirty socks. And I'm going to put some pictures here. These are the vanilla sock that I just freehanded with some scrap yarn, which you've seen in my previous podcast as a whip. And yeah, it's done. It's been done for a bit, so I've been wearing it, and currently it's dirty and it's like it needs a shaving, so I'm not going to show it to you. It's gross. But it's knit with the main color, which is like the beigey, rainbowy color. It's the Colorista I Am Unicorn. And the contrast color is Feisty Fibers Glamping. And yeah, it's just a simple pair of contrast color socks. Now moving on to whips. I have 2 whips. One you've already seen, one you've not seen. And I'm going to show you the one that I just cast on yesterday first. So this I only have a itty bitty done. This is my 9 p.m. tank by PetiteKnit. And yeah, this is just the front piece, and that's the only thing that I'm currently actively working on alongside another whip that you've seen before. It's my crochet blanket. So the 9 p.m. tank, I've wanted to make it ever since I saw the pattern, because it's a very basic tank with double knitted edge details, and I find that just very classy and a staple piece, and I can just like make a bajillion of them. Because I already have like a few tanks that are in the similar style that's from like a fast fashion brand, and they're comfy, but yeah, I don't want to like, if I can make it, I try not to like buy them. So most of what I purchase now is like t-shirt, because yes, I can make t-shirts, but if it's gonna only cost me $5, then I'm gonna buy a t-shirt or try to thrift it. But thrifted t-shirts sucks. At least from like my thrift store or like online. Can't seem to find good thrifted t-shirts. They're either always very used or with some irrelevant graphics that I don't want in my wardrobe. So yeah, I have really bad luck with thrifted t-shirts. That's why I tend to just purchase them. Other than that, I buy pants and skirts and dresses. Yeah, that's pretty much all I buy from fast fashion brands now. And even then, I tried to buy from like a sustainable line or like, yeah, just being mindful of what I purchase. But if not, I'm just like knitting sweaters and trying to venture into other things that I can make. Like, sometimes I like making hats, and I also like making like accessories like mitten. And I already have a bunch of scarves, so I don't really make scarves, and they tend to bore me a lot. So I don't like making scarves. But I digress. I wanted to make the 9 p.m. tank because first I wanted to try out the Illimani Sabri color. That's a blend of like cotton, alpaca, and another fiber, I think, that I can't remember. But I've heard Aaron Knits and Pearls and a friend of mine say that it's really good yarn. It's really soft. And since it has cotton and alpaca, it's going to be good for summer and it's going to have good drape. So my local yarn store happened to carry it and it was on sale. This is in my vlog podcast episode where I went to my local yarn store, Espace Tricot, and they still have some. And I happen to need some wool wash, and I'm probably gonna go soon because, yeah, I kind of just want another skein of it with some wool wash because wool wash be expensive. But yeah, currently the experience is nice. It's better than knitting for olive cotton merino, I would say. Because when I knit with cotton merino, the yarn kept splitting. So it's really hard to just knit while watching a show, knit while listening to something, and doing something else. And that's how I tend to knit, just like multitask, instead of just focusing on my knitting. Because, yeah, I tend to get bored when I do that. You see the pattern? I get bored really easily. This yarn is actually pretty pleasant to knit with. And I'm not sure if it's just because of the pattern that I previously used with the cotton merino. Maybe I should try it with something else. I just prefer knitting with this yarn. But if I knit something else with the cotton merino, which I certainly will because summer, I will keep you updated on how I feel about the other cotton yarn. Because I've had experience with, what's it called? Blue Sky Fibers cotton in the worsted. I forgot what it's called exactly. And that yarn is pretty good to knit with. It's just really heavy because it's 100% cotton. And when things are 100% cotton and it's a worsted weight, it tends to get really heavy really fast. And yeah, I'm not interested in wearing anything heavy, even if it's cotton during the summer. Because even if it's Canada, it gets to like 35 or 40 degrees because of the altitude. And when you're under the sun for like 5 minutes, you get basically sunburned. And I wanted to, like, the 9 p.m. tank is actually pretty interesting because it's like a made to measure pattern. Tiffany gives you a calculator on her website, and you can literally get all the different stitch counts for your precise body measurements. So I find that really interesting. And that makes it just extremely size inclusive because you just have to pop the numbers into the calculator and you get the stitch counts, and you just pop them into the pattern and you can make it. That is the 9 p.m. tank, just like the itty bitty bit. And I only started yesterday, so yeah, it's to be expected that I don't have much. Anyway, let's move on. The next whip that I have is one that I picked up after a while. So this is the crochet blanket that I'm making for my boyfriend. And where is it? This is the new stitch. So last time that I showed it to you, I'm not sure if it's like I was at the green or the purple part, but I kept going with a few different colors, and then I got bored, so I stopped. And I decided to include my magic knot ball that I've been making after seeing Nitty Natty's video. I saw in her video that she likes making magic knot ball with like really short scraps. So I've been trying to just like not waste anything and make a magic knot ball like she did. The tutorial is from the Crazy Sock Lady. I'm gonna link Nitty Natty's video in the description if I can find it, and in her description you can find the tutorial for the magic knot ball. But yeah, I've just been crocheting away on this blanket, and I'm not sure how big I want this blanket to be because I'm probably just gonna like bind it off once I'm bored about it. And yeah, I already put it down once, so I don't know if I'm gonna put it down another time. But it's been pretty interesting crocheting with the magic knot ball. It's just like really fun to see the color changing. So if I can find the start of the thing, I think it's this. So the beginning of the magic knot ball starts here, the dusty purple thing here, and then it just kept going into a beige, and then a few stitches of this color, and then a white, some pink, some more pink, and then into like a white with some mint, some speckles. Yeah, I just really enjoy making the blanket with the magic knot ball. So this is probably going to be a long-term project because he's also hinting like he's like, I wouldn't mind if it's a giant blanket. I'm like, well, I don't know if you're going to get a giant blanket. So we'll see. I have a few fingering weight projects lining up, so probably going to have a few scraps, or I can just include a few leftovers that I have. Alright, so that was all my whips. Let's move on to acquisition. I do have quite a few because it's been a month and a half or something since I talked about yarn stuff. And some pre-order things came in. That's why I have a few. Let's start with non-mystery yarn. We're gonna put them in. Should we put the mystery yarn first this time? We usually do the mystery yarn at the end. Okay, I have 2 mystery yarn. And one of them is the Emily C Gillies March look of the draw. I went with a fiber this time. Was it BFL? Did I actually go with BFL? I forgot, but yeah, I have Emily C Gillies March luck with the draw, and I have Lichen and Lace sock train for March. And we're gonna do the fiber first. So if you haven't received your Emily C Gillies March yarn, you have to look away and skip to this time. So in 3, 2, 1, here we go. This is the lovely fiber of March. I love the colors. Look at this. Such a pretty rainbow. It still kind of looks different than the inspiration picture. It's always a tiny bit darker, and I'm not sure if it's because of the base or anything, but this looks so pretty, like as it is. And imagine just like an all over gradient yarn. That would be so pretty. I believe this is BFO and C-cell, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong. I don't know if it's merino and C-cell or BFO and C-cell. But anyway, I just love the color. It's a gradient of a dark blue into a teal, into a orange, and a red, and then a purple. So like a sunset color, basically. Yeah, I love how it turned out. And I really like how the C-cell doesn't take dye, so it looks like it has waves all throughout. That's really interesting. It's the first time that I use this kind of fiber. We'll see how it spins up. Alright, so that was the Emily C. Gillies March Luck of the Draw. You can look back now, unless you also have the Lichen and Lace sock train. And for the people who haven't received their Lichen and Lace sock train for March, you'll have to skip to this time. So in 3, 2, 1, we have this color. So when I first opened this, I was like, very interesting. It's not a color that I would usually go for. I don't usually go for blues, and that's kind of why I like the sock train, because it makes me like experiment with color that I usually won't go with. So this is a variegation yarn of a pale blue with white and a golden yellow with streaks of medium light orange brown. This is called Bluebell Beginnings, and as usual it's on their 80-20 sock, which is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. I think from like January to now, they're all very unique colors, and I think they could all be like standalone something. And I don't really see them going together, to be honest, because January was like a purple, was like a lavender purple, and February, wow, I'm just saying it out loud, but like you can see them on Lichen and Lace's Instagram already. February is like a dark green with some blue, like a swampy color. But not like a muted yellowish swampy color, more like a fresh spring, like a defrosting lake kind of swampy color. And now it's like a pale blue with orange. So I don't see them going together, but they could very well be all like standalone pieces, garments, socks. And yeah, I'm really excited to use them. But yeah. We're done with the Lichen and Lace mystery yarn, so you can look back. And we have no more mystery yarn from now on. Not in this episode, not like from now on till eternity, you know? But anyway, I have something really special that I found at the thrift store. I actually found a whole hand-knitted sweater at the thrift store, and I bought it. It was $7.25, I think. And I believe the person is a size small to like a medium, so the sweater wouldn't exactly fit me. But I retrieved the yarn, and this is how it looks like in skein. So this is a very muted, I'd say sage green. Sage green usually is like already muted, but this is even more muted, with streaks of a muted turquoise and speckles of a amber orange. So yeah, it's a softly variegated yarn. I just found it really pretty, and it's $7 for a sweater quantity of probably hand-dyed yarn. I couldn't pass it on, you know? I'm not sure what to make with this yet. I was thinking of making a set of shorts and t-shirt, like the So Summer shorts and the So Summer shirt by Jessie Maed, but I'm not sure yet, and I don't have the shirt pattern yet, so maybe we'll start with the shorts and we'll see how much I have left. Maybe I'll only have enough for like a camisole top. But yeah, that was a surprise find. I was just like, I wanted to go thrift for some pants because I'm always looking for pants. I literally bought 2 pairs of pants, 1 pair thrifted, 1 pair on sale. None of them fit properly. For one, my thighs were too big for the sock. For one, my thighs were too big for the leg part. And for the other one, my calves were too big for the leg part. Like, what's wrong with pants? Just make them fit. But yeah, I needed like a standard pair of just black jeans, but I still want them to look good, you know? I don't want just some basic black jeans because they're not for work or anything. If it's like for work, I would just been like, yeah, no, I don't care. Give me whatever black jeans that fit me. But no, this pair is like to go with my wardrobe and I want them to still be stylish, but I also don't want to pay $80 for a pair of jeans. I don't think that's worth it. Especially for a lot of brands that aren't sustainable or like ethical. Cause yeah, you could pay for like $200 for like a sustainable and ethical company, but your girl's poor. She buys too much hand-dyed yarn. But yeah, buying an expensive pair of pants is just not in my budget. I'd rather spend that money on something else. So I tend to just try to thrift my pants if I can, but then I run into the situation of my calves not fitting into the pants. Let's move back to talking about yarn. So that yarn I thrifted, and it was a pleasant surprise. So now I have a new sweater quantity of yarn for $7. So highly suggest if you thrift or you have a thrift store near you to just go from time to time in the sweater section or in whatever section. Maybe you can find a hand knit sweater because I don't know why people donate those. But yeah, maybe you can find something cool and just like reuse the yarn. Next, I have something very exciting. My Campfiber Yarn Winter Woodlands collection came in, and this is how they look like. Aren't they so pretty? Every time I get Laura's yarn, I'm just like, gosh, this girl is so talented. So let's start with the purple one, because the purple one is what I'm most excited about. This color is Winter Sunrise. It was basically the only color that I really wanted in this collection. Like anything else I could be like, okay, I don't need it. But this I was like, I kind of needed. It's a variegation yarn of a soft purple to a deeper purple with beige and a pale pink. It has speckles of red and black and a little bit of yellow. So I was planning on making a road trip tee by Ozetta that I talked about in the planning podcast. And I just haven't started yet because I have a few whips going on still. And I'd be like, well, I'm not making those whips, so I should probably not start another thing. And also, I've been in the phase of I want results. So I've been knitting really small things like socks and camisoles. So I'm not sure if I'm going to cast this on very soon, but I will definitely in the future. Next is the Shadowed Forest. It's a deep green, also a variegated yarn with a bit of white, aka undyed part, with a moss green, and yeah, it's a forest green, and it has some speckles from time to time. Yeah, it's just a really lovely color. I'm usually not a green person, but since I've been dating my boyfriend whose favorite color is green, I've been looking at green things. Easily influenced, I know. But yeah, I think I come to love green a little bit from here and there. So yeah, I'm not sure what to make with this. I have 2 skeins of this fingering. Oh, the Winter Sunrise, I got it in a sport wave because that's what the pattern suggests. But the green, I got it in a superwash merino fingering, actually. 100% superwash merino. I've always wanted to try non-superwash yarn, and I did get some non-superwash yarn in the Spring Woodlands collection. When it comes in, I'll show you. But yeah, the color is very different on superwash and non-superwash, so I based my choice on how it looks like. And Laura, as a smart business owner, dyed up the color in like every yarn base that she offers for her pre-orders. So yeah, that was like very smart of her, because I wouldn't have chosen non-superwash if I don't know what it looks like. Because I know that the color doesn't stick to the yarn very well. At least not very fast, and it looks more muted, more like a watercolor effects according to her. But I still kind of need to see how it looks like in order to purchase something. That's like just, I guess, human nature. But yeah, I'm not sure what to make with that, but I want to make some more like summer camisole thingy. And I don't really want to, even though I don't really want to make them with wool, it's like, if it's airy, it should be fine. Yeah, we'll see. But I have like 2 pretty fingering weight yarn. I wanted to make my mom and I matching camisoles, so maybe I'll do that. Okay, moving on. Next we have a pie yarn. So March 14th is International Pie Day. And a bunch of indie dyers joined this like massive collaboration of Pie Day potluck. They all came up with 1 or 2 pie colors, like colors inspired by different pies. And even Laura from Campfiber Yarn came up with Dutch apple pie, I believe. And it's like a beautiful variegation of like a medium dark brown with like white and speckles. I didn't get it because I was trying to be good and not spend money. But the frosted stitches got me. They came out with key lime pie, which is one of my favorite pie. Yeah, I could not get it. It's literally so pretty. It's a variegation yarn of a medium green and cream and medium brown with speckles. So yeah, variegation yarn speckles, just I can't resist. I couldn't resist. And I already thought of which pattern I wanted to make. So the Max sweater by Calibri is a checkered looking sweater. I'll put images, you'll be able to see. So since it's checkered and pie, I thought of using this as the main color and doing the checker with like a similar brown than this, which I found Santa's Garn Double Sunday in the color Dark Honey is very similar to this, and I think it will complement the yarn very well. Yes, I know that key lime pine doesn't have like the checker thing, but pie, let me be. Let me live my pie dream. But yeah, I still have to purchase the Santa's Garn yarn, which I'm not gonna do soon because it's summer and I'm not about to knit a sweater in summer. If I have to purchase the yarn, if I have the yarn already, I'll do it, whatever. But it's probably gonna be a fall project. And yeah, just really excited for this. Just look at it. I got it in DK, hence the Double Sunday. But yeah, I'm glad that this is already planned. And I'm gonna try to be more like this, meaning plan my project and then buy the yarn for it. Or at least like knowing what I want to make before getting a pre-order or something. So I don't just purchase yarn for the sake of purchasing. Last thing, this is my Wildflower Yarn pre-order of their admin rerun. So yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to get some pastel yarn, and Wildflower Yarn never disappoint. Just a very lovely pastel yarn, variegation of neon pink, some yellow, and a little bit of blue. And I got another day because it was an advent in a mini. So yeah, I think this is gonna be a really cute pair of socks. Not with the mini though, it wouldn't make a difference. But yeah, it could be a really pair of like standalone socks because I want to let the variegation shine. But we'll see. It's really cute. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. I don't know how long I've been talking about. I've been talking for an hour. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed being back and talk about yarn with you. Let me know what you're working on in the comments. Let me know if you have any summer knit plan or if you have like pattern recommendation. I would love to see them. And stay safe, drink a lot of water. I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Hello. Look at Hades. Sam.